Jesus. Holy hell.
I've always got to be very careful when it comes to river crossings.
That's fast and deep.
A couple of cars don't have snorkels.
You did not want to be submarining that 300, aren't you?
No. Me personally, I don't want to go the other way. What the? Yep, okay.
Mount Terrible brings its own challenges.
Stomach is turning.
Try and use the gears and not the brakes so much.
It's all right, Simon. You can cool them down in the river at the bottom.
I don't want to drive this, so Simon, camera car's all yours.
Chances of survival, about 25%.
Oh, awesome.
It was another early start here at Jamieson Caravan Park.
The view is sensational. If you look behind you, just the trees up in the hills is awesome. Coming from WA, this is the first time I've seen this. This is brilliant.
Jamieson Caravan Park, we get a lot of people coming up here and take the 4 drives out to enjoy the cold, to enjoy the snow. In summer, it's the opposite. We get stacks of families playing in underneath the trees, going for a swim. Everything's powered. Got about 30 sites, 9 cabins, 4 of those cabins have en-suites.
The good thing about Jamieson is there's plenty of good stuff close by. We went right yesterday to go up to Mount Skeen and find some snow, and today the destination is Mount Terrible for lunch.
Jamieson Caravan Park, it does enable a lot of very serious adventure in the middle of the hills.
Simon gave us a bit of a brief on Mount Terrible. Potential, especially with a bit of wet weather that's been up there the last few days, that we're going to be a bit slippery, a bit slidey on the clay.
Hopefully the cloud lifts for us and we get a nice view and have some fun.
Left Jamieson Caravan Park down in the lovely little village of Jamieson.
We go through some windy road across a river and then turn off into this track. And the first thing you see is just a steep incline.
Michael from Piranha instantly put on his rear snow and mud chains because it was a bit of slop.
I'm going to give it a bit of curry. Alrighty, here we go.
Bang, there you are, you're climbing. A little bit of frost and a little bit of low cloud overnight, put a bit of moisture on it.
Guys, slippery to start with, a little bit of momentum will be good.
Now this is in low altitude. I'm just thinking to myself, the further we go up, is it going to get more slippery?
That slick mud is like driving on snow. You're just skating. Nearly took the cameraman out with the back end of the D-Max going sideways accidentally. I do apologise for that one.
All the way up, because the level of drift I got with the chains on meant that I didn't have to put the speed into the track.
If that's anything to go by, we're in for a rip a day.
Mike, you are the towing expert coming from Trek Hardware 4x4 Superstore. We've come into the Vic High Country with 3 caravans, and we've actually left them behind now that we're coming out onto these tracks. And I believe that we've done the right thing.
I think we have done the right thing, but I would also say it's about understanding your ability. If you don't have the experience of driving on real muddy roads, park it up, get your car out. You look into one of these MDC vans, I think the thing's more luxurious than my house. One of them I saw had a chef inside, and it's like just incredible.
I've bought the XT17 HRT family. Big battery system, big solar system, diesel heater, toilet, shower, a bed for mum and dad, and 2 bunks for the kids.
I wonder if it's going to get any more exciting.
It's getting a bit steeper and a bit more difficult.
We've done similar tracks with Simon before, but with that intense drop off to the right, there's a little bit more danger involved.
Wowza. It's just continual climbing.
If you hit them with a speed that you shouldn't be, you're going to push the car into the side of the mountain or down the bottom of the mountain. Slow and steady is the way to go.
Got to make sure that you're concentrating. The tracks themselves can vary. You might be driving along and it's dry, and then you come around the corner and it's slippery and there's a downhill section.
I don't think we're going to be able to stay out of the ruts.
It just goes to show how diverse the high country is. This time yesterday afternoon we were standing in about 1.5 feet of snow. It was down at about 1 degree and we weren't probably not even 5-6 kilometres from where we are here. It's the Victorian high country, that's what you get.
Four-wheel driving in the high country, in fact four-wheel driving almost anywhere, it's better to go with at least one other vehicle in case problems occur. We had areas where we would try and keep all the cars bunched up, and then there are times when you want to be way apart, almost to the point of calling the next car up after you've cleared a big hill.
For experienced four-wheel drivers, it was probably a walk in the park.
This is a bit tame, isn't it?
But you got to remember to be prepared, make sure you got enough food, warm clothes and recovery gear.
I think I said to Simon, come on, what's going on? This is boring. But I think there was something more to come.
Heading up to Mount Terrible, the track was a bit rocky, a bit gravelly, a bit wet, a bit sloppy.
Oh, how beautiful is this morning? Poletti Track, prime conditions. It's looking awesome.
We've had a bit of rain over the last week, and to be up here with it not raining is fantastic.
A little bit of rock in there to give it that bit of extra bite and traction.
We've seen classic conditions today of why we fit a Bashplate system, and that's to protect the underside of the car from rocks. It's very easy out here to slide off something or not see something and drop the car onto a rock, and the last thing you want to do is puncture a hole in your auto or your engine sump or the bottom of your radiator. One of the products this car's got on it is our own Bashplate system. We've designed it with a real purpose in mind of protecting the vehicle but not adding excess weight or excess material or any other complications.
The further we got up towards the peak of the mountain, the steeper it got. When you're driving like this, you want to be careful and take it easy, but sometimes with this terrain and the steep hills and the steep inclines, you got to give it berries to get it up there.
From Poletti Track, we've turned on to the Mount Terrible track.
It always amazes me that you'll be driving along a track across a ridgeline and there's a big puddle. What's it doing up here? You know, it shouldn't be here.
I keep falling in love with this country over and over again. Coming here from Birdsville, the difference, it's just beautiful.
We've been going up the track and it's been fairly easy for everyone. Now it's time to have a bit of fun.
There was a section that we came across where Simon had an idea. There was 3 lines up the hill. They were spaced apart, and the idea was to go alternate cars up this line, and geez, it was like herding cats.
You got a great selection of tracks when you're heading up to Mount Terrible, and that's one of the beauties of the Victorian high country. There's tracks really for every level of expertise.
The convoy all sort of split up and people went their own way and had a bit of fun, and we all met up at the top.
Up on top of the range, travelling south now, Mike. A little bit of difference in the terrain here.
Really is a nice spot. You've just got magnificent views out 360 all the way around you.
And what are some of the precautionary things people should think about before they come up to the Victorian high country, Mike?
Typically in the snow, the advice is you travel with 3 vehicles. The reason you do this, your one vehicle might get incapacitated, can't be used. The other vehicle can pull it out. If that gets stuck, then you've got one rescue vehicle that can go get help. You want to carry a set of traction boards. I carry the Tread Pros. This is the stuff that they were built for, was to give people traction in snow, mud and sand, and that's what they do beautifully. Carry them, you can self-recover yourself. Make sure you got a good set of tyres, and more than anything else, check the weather. Conditions are good for today, they're great for tomorrow. That's what you want to check.
The higher we got up the mountain, the more thick that the cloud coverage got, and so the visibility started to get a little bit more difficult, but the team decided to push on regardless.
You look like you're going through a misty forest, almost spooky.
Kevin got worried ghosts were coming out at one point. Silent Hill.
You're trying to figure the track goes up in front of you or down in front of you. You just couldn't tell because it was that misty.
That drop off, my goodness, that is intense down to the right.
We started getting right up into the clouds. That in itself is an experience. But when you do that sort of stuff, what you got to do is you got to be careful to communicate with the people around you and drive to the conditions. We split the convoy up 2 car lengths apart from each other, making sure you've got your lights on, not only so you can see in the front, but the car behind you can see you with your park lights on the rear, and keeping constant communication throughout the convoy till you get where you need.
"1,325 metres up is this little hut.
The huts were put in place basically for when there was cattle in the high country. Cattle were allowed to graze through the high country, and the huts were there for protection base for cattlemen.
There was plenty of cloud cover, and there wasn't too much of a view to see from the hut.
This is terrible.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
So we thought, oh, this is a bit disappointing. What are we going to do here? So we all toddled off and had our lunch. And then by the time we had lunch, you could literally see the clouds just sweeping through the valley.
Then all of a sudden, the cloud cover started to clear, and then you could see the amazing mountain ranges.
And I got to tell you, what a sight.
Cloudy 1 minute, good the next minute. Cloudy again, weird.
So what goes up must come down, and obviously there was a descent to get back down the mountain.
Paul and Aaron from PatrolApart, who are familiar with this area, was saying that there's a track that could probably be a bit more intense.
So this is where all your traction control aids come in, low 4, first gear, diff locks.
I thought, I might try the cruel mode, and it was an absolute beauty.
In actual fact, I think it was controlling the car probably a little bit better than you, or if you were manually driving it yourself.
The car has only got so much gearing in low range and first gear, and the rest of that descent control stuff is using the brakes to do it.
If you've got a rear diff lock, you might want to employ that as well, just to stop the vehicle from sliding a little bit. Stephen, how was that one?
I had the rear diff lock on just in case. I think this D-Max has some sort of hill control descent thing, but I didn't even bother using it.
Look, all those traction control aids are good. I typically find that they're a bit reactive instead of preventive. So putting a diff lock on before you do the hill is actually preventative. It's applying a traction aid that's going to assist you before you get into trouble.
Yeah, I've got the hill descent on, I've got the rear diff lock in, I'm in low range first gear. I haven't had to touch any pedals coming all the way down that hill.
Simon, IFS vehicles can be pretty tricky when you lift them. What's the best way to correct the angles?
The Tough Dog upper control arm is a fixed unit. We have no adjustment on there at all. The idea of having the fixed unit, it's all been done in a chrome moly tube, and we find that to be extremely strong. We know where the ball joint should be for the optimum ball joint angle, and we've built that into the Tough Dog UCA. The upper control arm is backed by a 4-year unlimited K warranty.
Moonlight Spur track potentially could save us a lot of time, or then we're driving home in the dark.
The crossing at the bottom is fairly wide. If it's too much for the vehicles that are along on the trip, we'll need to turn around and come back up.
If there's water involved, let's do it.
You did not want to be submarining that 300, are you?
No. Stomach is turning.
So their brakes.
These humps and bumps.
Yeah, I can smell their brakes.
Hey Michael, try and use the gears and not the brakes so much.
It's all right, Simon, you can cool them down in the river at the bottom.
Yeah, don't even say that, because he will.
First water crossing, looks pretty shallow, good rocky bottom to it. Should be fine to get through this one.
Nice.
Oop. That'll be the headers cooling down.
Yep. So little creek crossing right here, not too deep, like halfway up the wheels, maybe a bit more. Oh, here we go, got another one here. This looks more like fun.
Doesn't look too bad, actually. Oh, no, it's going to be deep here. Holy hell.
It's a bit of a concern, it's going to be deeper than what could handle.
Jesus.
This time of year, you've always got to be very careful when it comes to river crossings.
The amount of water that's getting around Victoria at the moment is incredible. Every single river is banking.
Let's see what this creek crossing's all about. What the? Yep, okay. So the problem is, a couple of the cars don't have snorkels. So it puts us in a situation of whether we put a tarp on the front of them and go through, nice steady speed, or turn around and go back the other way. Me personally, I don't want to go the other way. Let's see what the consensus is.
That's fast and deep. Yeah, and the spot where we've got to cross, that's just nasty where they're two meet.
I don't want to drive this, so Simon, camera car's all yours.
There's no way I'm driving that. Hey guys, please keep my accountant happy and follow the page.
Is this the only way across? We can build some rocks in there.
Gonna need more than a few rocks. What we needed was a hero.
Chaps on at least.
Taking one from the team. Thanks, Michael.
Mike took a bullet for the team. He was happy to strip his clothes off and jump in to check how deep it was. I'm sure the guys without snorkels really appreciated his extra effort.
Always worth checking and walking a river like that, even though it's bloody cold. High country rivers are notorious for being freezing, which it was, don't get me wrong, it's freezing. They'll live, it's all good. Superman! Piranha's been known over the years for dual battery systems. We've always been into wheel chains, but of recent times, we're into these things, which is a premium alloy tray. It's a 1500 long tray, they're all 1800 wide. It's for a four-wheel driver, so typically on a dual cab you might have an 1800. This is a bit shorter, so we don't clip the back of the overhang. We've got options on this car like the rear ladder rack. It's got under tray toolboxes. We've got LED lights in the back of it. Got a trundle drawer that pulls out from the middle. So we've really gone to town and made this look pretty fancy. This is an outstanding product and you won't be disappointed with a Piranha tray.
Aaron, have you got a carbon tree trunk protector, please?
The first car through was the camera car. Sometimes the car can float in conditions like that. So we picked a huge great tree, but you had to join two straps together just to get around the circumference of it.
What's our chances of survival?
Chances of survival? Yeah. About 25%.
Oh, awesome.
Hooked a winch cable up to it just in case the car started to float away or struggle with traction halfway through.
Couple of critical things there, guys. First of all, we've got somebody who walked the river and checked it out, found a good safe line. But that wasn't enough. We wanted to play it safe, so we used the winch cable as a little bit of insurance to guarantee that we would get ourselves across. The vehicle drove through quite safely and capably. Here comes the next one.
You made it.
That was easy.
Cautiously, we've entered in and crossed across. The river's flowing pretty quickly. You can't see what you're driving through and it can be very deep.
We had to be careful with the D-Max not having a snorkel. To have the experience of Simon and the other guys around to teach me how to get through it, that was great. I've done plenty of water crossings, but not this high and not running this fast. It was a good river crossing. A little complicated, but it was good.
I think Anya actually wanted to park inside in the river crossing because she was going to use it as like a wash machine to get the car clean.
I was a bit apprehensive watching a few of the cars go before me. It was moving quite fast and it was quite hard once you sort of got away from the banks to see the real depth. Got through pretty well, but a good little way to finish the trip.
The entry point was a bit soft on the ground, but in the middle it was rocky. So no problems with traction, it's just the depth. Made it across there with no problems at all.
It's amazing to see these river crossings and see what you can get through and what you can do safely.
The creek itself really rocky underneath, good solid flow of water. Realistically, yeah, it's quite typical.
What an amazing way to end the trip.
We've had a bunch of fun.
I can't explain how great these guys are. It is wonderful.
It's been great being able to put these cars through all their tests.
A good day all round out on the tracks.
Ooh, easy.
I really, really can't wait to get back here and do it again.
That wonderful girl, could she be